Yo, what is good, YouTube? Matty Dubs here, back with another video, guys. We have some breaking news, highlights, observations, and some notes from Texans day one of training camp, and things are really getting excited. We are just a few weeks away from the start of preseason, and this is where things get so much fun. A lot of practicing, a lot of guys breaking out, standing out, and in day one of practice we had exactly that. So I'm going to go over a couple of guys that stood out to me, some observations that I took away from day one. So make sure you guys do me a favor before we jump in and hit that like button, subscribe if you're new, join the family, because I will be covering everything Texans as well as everything NFL for all of training camp, preseason, regular season. Got you guys covered. Without any further ado, let's get into the video. Texans day one of training camp was very interesting. Now, before we got into the action, we had someone, reach an agreement on an extension, and that is Titus Howard. And this was big news. I think he signed a 3-year, $56 million deal with about $36 million guaranteed, according to ESPN. And, they're excited about this just because strictly this offensive line looks ready to go. You got Laramie Tunsil, Kenyon Green, the former first-round pick, Drew Scruggs, the former second-round pick of this season. You got Shaq Mason, who I believe just signed a major extension earlier in the offseason, and now Titus Howard, which allows you to go forward because this offensive line is completely built. From the top to the bottom, they are ready to go. So that was one of the major things that I took away from day one, but there was a lot of other things, including this guy on your screen right now, John Mechie, the former wide receiver out of Alabama, missed all of last year, and now he is back, ready to go, in great shape. A lot of guys, including Jalen Petrie and some other wide receivers, were very impressed with the way he moved, the way he, handled himself on the football field for day one. Obviously, we all know he missed last year, so this was something that we all wanted to see, something that we were missing out on last season. But John Mechie is adding to this wide receiver room, who is young, hungry, but also ready to go to start this season. And this should be, one of the main reasons why Texans fans are excited. I mean, when you look at this wide receiver room, you got Nico Collins, who they love. They got John Mechie. They bring over Robert Woods to be the veteran, the guy who can help mold people or players into the true potential that they can be. You also got Xavier Hutchinson, the 6th-round pick. He looks really good. Tank Dell is like CJ Stroud's right-hand man, which is very important. It seems like Tank Dell could be very lethal this season in year one. They also bring over Noah Brown from Dallas. You got Amari Rodgers, the former Green Bay Packer. You got Steven Sims, the former Pittsburgh Steeler, I believe. But so far, they got like 9 wide receivers, maybe 8 wide receivers that I truly think can make this roster. So it's going to be a fun battle throughout the rest of training camp. Now, another thing that looked very, very intriguing, very, very good, I would say, for the Texans is second overall pick, CJ Stroud, quarterback, has a ton of potential. I mean, his arm that we've seen from day one was incredible. The arm strength, his throwing power is top tier, and just his accuracy in general from being a sit in the pocket type of guy. He is amazing from the jump, and this is a guy I think can really take the league by storm next season and might even win Rookie of the Year. I think a lot of people have Bryce Young winning it all, but I think CJ Stroud, if he can build this rapport with his wide receivers and build this chemistry, I really do think that he has what it takes to be the Rookie of the Year this year. I think he's got all the talent in the world, and that's obviously clear with the reason they took him number 2 overall. Now, head coach DeMeco Ryans spent quite a bit of time looking at the defense. He wanted to make sure that this part of the team was ready to go to start the season. You see John Mechie there running a nice little quick slant over the middle. He said, "It's the same feeling I had as a player back in 2006. He's just ready to go. He wants his defense to be top tier, top notch, and he's going to do whatever it takes to make sure the defense is ready to go to start the season." We also saw a little bit of Will Anderson Jr., and he just looks massive. I think he's going to be maybe even the defensive Rookie of the Year. I mean, he is incredible as well. Yeah, 3rd overall pick in the draft. He looks really good. Like I said, though, or maybe I haven't said this yet, but we won't really know too much until the pads come on, which should be in a couple of days, so be ready for that. That's when things are going to get really exciting. So we'll have to wait a couple more days until the pads come on, until there's contact, and then, like I said, that's when things will get interesting. And one final thing to note here is Jonathan Joseph is now an assistant coach for the DB room, which is something I'm actually kind of happy about. I remember watching him when I was a little bit younger, a couple years ago. I mean, it wasn't that long ago, and now he's a defensive backs coach on this team. I think that's going to help out. But overall, when you look at this roster, I think the offense did a great job. Or they did a great job building up this offense with a bunch of young talent at the wide receiver room. You bring in Dalton Schultz from Dallas. The offensive line looks amazing. You still got Damian Pierce. You got Devin Singletary coming over from Buffalo. Mike Boone coming over from Denver. And then the defense, I mean, the defense looks pretty good. They still have a lot of work to do. I don't think they're going to be a top 10 defense this year. But, man, they have a lot of guys who are young, hungry, still developing in terms of Will Anderson. You got Malik Collins, Jonathan Grenard, the former third-round pick back in 2020. You got Christian Harris, a third-round pick from last season, Denzel Perriman. You got Christian Kirksey, Corey Littleton. So they have a bunch of veteran linebackers here who are productive when they're on the field, and we'll see if they can be productive this year. You also bring in Steven Nelson from Philadelphia, Jimmy Ward. You got Jalen Petrie, Derek Stingley, who they are really high on, and then Desmond King coming over from Tennessee, and they brought in Shaq Griffin from Jacksonville. So they've done a lot of work this offseason to make sure that this defense is ready to go, and hopefully they are ready to go for the start of the season. But the one thing I take away, CJ Stroud, man, he is going to be a ball player. Guys, hit that like button for me real quick. Subscribe if you're new. Join the family. I will be covering all of training camp for the Texans. Make sure you guys are here, and I'll see you in the next video. Peace. Today's video is brought to you by Underdog Fantasy. And if you love playing fantasy sports like football, basketball, baseball, and so many other sports, but also love being able to win money, you're going to want to stick around for this whole segment. Introducing Underdog Fantasy, the ultimate platform for fantasy sports lovers. Do you want to experience the thrill of drafting your team and competing for huge prizes? Well, look no further. With Underdog Fantasy, you get access to a wide range of fantasy sports, including football, basketball, baseball, and so much more. But here's what makes Underdog Fantasy stand out from all of those other apps. They've got quick and user-friendly drafting process, a unique and exciting game formats, fair and competitive contests for all skill levels, and attractive bonuses and promotions. Not only can you draft teams and compete with others, but you can also play a game of higher and lower, which is personally my favorite thing to do on there, but you can potentially win 20 times the money you put down. And if you use code MattyDubs when you sign up, Underdog will match your first deposit up to $100. And what that means is basically when you deposit, let's say $100, they'll give you a free $100 to use and play with. Click the link in the description to get started, or head to the website right now to start dominating the fantasy world. And don't miss out on all the fun. Be a part of the Underdog community starting now. And don't forget, if you use code MattyDubs, they'll match your first deposit up to $100. Let's get started. Get into drafts with me starting today.